right, so if everybody's ready. Welcome to task training Oscar 5005. Discuss CAP image, graphic requirements, and image and orthomosaic processing software. This can be found on page 21 of the task guide. I noticed when I was talking about geotagging before, I saw a lot of people doing this. So I think I've got a lot of APs sitting in this class. And so this is a lot of this is probably going to be old hat in some respects, but then there's going to be some new stuff for you here to learn as well. So because once again, we've borrowed a task from another achievement, and that being the airborne photographer. CAP airborne photographers and UAS pilots and technicians have a variety of computer programs and applications that allow them to produce exceptional imagery products for the mission's customer. In recent years, FEMA has relied upon CAP to quickly deliver high-resolution imagery, both still and video, to support their disaster response efforts. Tonight, we're only going to be introducing the variety of programs available. Some of them we will be going in greater depth than others, and that's because we have entire sessions dedicated to those other software packages. There's actually, if you go back to what all those links that I've given you, if you go on the Civil Air Patrol SUAS website, there's actual PowerPoint presentations and other presentations on those software. I'm in the process right now of talking to a couple of experts in some of these programs to actually talk to us. Some of us have already received that presentation from one of the softwares that we're going to be discussing tonight, and so it's an ongoing learning. Trust me. I know things that today that I didn't know even 3 months ago, that I didn't know 6 months ago, that I didn't know 10 months ago. So it's always a continually moving thing. Okay, so unfortunately, many of the programs are costly and there are no national licenses available. Some wings have licenses, Michigan does not. Those folks in Ohio, I see, and Iowa, and I believe we've got one person from South Dakota. Check with your wing, okay? We're trying to get some in Michigan, but right now we haven't established them. So that means that if you want to use them, you'll either have to purchase them yourself or your unit may have to purchase them for you. So U.S. Air Force North, or AF North, currently requires the following information be added to an image that is delivered to a customer, unless they specify otherwise. So the date in military format, the time over the target in Zulu time, the location of the image, including the city and state, the GPS coordinates, a north pointing arrow, and a CAP emblem. And you'll notice in that other picture that I showed you earlier, in the last session, all that information was on there. And then it's also good practice to name the object in the image. Since that image was just for practice purposes, I did not name it because I did not want that that information out there. It's a park that I live nearby. Okay. Make sure that you know this information. At least if you're using the program, it's going to be natural. It's going to happen automatically. If you're having to put it in manually, you're going to have to make sure you have this information. It's now standard procedure in many wings that this information be placed on not just AFNORTH photos, but all photos. I also recently found out, and when I say recently, I'm talking 3 days ago, that Michigan Wing is going in that direction as well. Right now, it's not a requirement, but it is something that will be happening. So in any event, this is a good practice to get into, and it's not as onerous as it sounds.
What are the GPS coordinates of a composite image?
I'm sorry? Oops, sorry, you're muted again, sir. Sorry, I missed the first part. All I heard was composite image.
Yeah. What are the GPS coordinates of a photomosaic image?
The I use Robogeo, and Robogeo pulls it actually when you stitch it together to make the orthomosaic. The very first photo used for the stitch is the coordinates for the that Robogeo seems to pull. Because, and it was funny, it's funny that you asked that, because I looked at that, and when I looked up the coordinates, it was like, oh yeah, that's in that corner there. So yeah, because of course, if you're doing an entire city block, what are you doing, right? So it takes the image of the very first photo, wherever the SUAS was on the first photo that it took. So, and again, we used to have a program that would do all this, and it was called the CAP Image Processing Program. I bring this up only for historical context because it's mentioned in the task guide. And I want you to know that the information pertaining to it is no longer valid. We no longer have access to this program. But because it's mentioned in the task guide, I want you to be aware of it and know that we no longer can use it. As I said, it doesn't mean we have to do it manually. In recent years, a commercial computer program called Robogeo is commonly used by CAP to produce watermarked images for our various customers. Robogeo uses the image's geocoded metadata to automatically place the required data directly on the still image. As a commercial program, Robogeo costs about $80 to purchase. Okay, site licenses can be purchased for a reduced price per user. So if the wing were to buy 10 licenses to put on 10 computers, they might get it at a reduced price. Again, that's something that we have to talk to our wings about, or GLR, or whatever region you're in. National has given me a flat out no. Trust me, I've pushed that. Right now, National is not looking at funding this, but it is something that you might want to look at, either your unit, yourself, pushing the wings to get a site license. Okay. I have purchased it. I use it. I think it's great. However, it's up to you to decide if you want to purchase it. If you don't, it doesn't mean you're out of luck. There is a free version that you can download and play with. The free version does everything the purchased version does, but it has a built-in randomizer that creates geocoding errors in labeling. They could put that the geocoded information could mean that the information on your picture could be out by as much as half a mile. Not important when you're learning how to do it, but you don't want to be using it on a proper mission without that caveat to incident command or to the client. Details about the program will be given in another slide. I'm going to be listing I'm going to put all the links in the chat that we're talking about in one shot, and giving you an opportunity to go to those locations so that you can either bookmark it to look at later or write them down or whatever you want to do. Okay. So I want to talk a bit about the errors so that you understand. So here's an example of what I mean. Okay. Take a look at these two photos with myself and the beautiful Lieutenant Poir. The one on the left is coded with the purchased version. The one on the right is coded with the free version. Can anyone spot the difference?
Oh,
Not obvious, sir.
Looks like the lat longs are off. The lat longs are off.
The lat longs are off. That's what I mean by the quote unquote random errors. Okay, so you'll notice that the purchased version gave me the exact coordinates where I was at. The free version entered the errors. And of course, they do that. Why? To force you to purchase the product, right? If the free version did the same thing as the purchased product, nobody would purchase the product. So exactly what I'm showing you here.
So they're deliberately changing the EXIF data that shows the lat long or the GPS of this particular photo.
Exactly.
That's devious. Okay.
That's
I mean,
why,
if they dropped off like a decimal point, that's one thing, but to purposely change the numbers on it, that's something else. But okay.
And now you see what I mean by, and those numbers could put your photo out by half a mile. So if you're sending the client to those locations, the one on the right side, they're not going to see that lovely little park bench, because they're going to be in a different location, and I'm going to get there right now. So when we look at the map, here's the different locations. The one on the left is the proper location. So there's Wallace Terrace, there's Wallace Terrace. There's Young Street, there's Young Street. There's the park that we were sitting in. There's the park that we were sitting, whoops, I'm doing the wrong thing. So there's Wallace Terrace, there's Young Street. There's Wallace Terrace, there's Young Street. So there's the park, and there's the park. So the one on the left is the proper location. That's where the park bench was that we were sitting. The one on the right is the errored location. In this case, the error is about 1/4 of a mile away. Not a lot, but enough to give pause if you need a precise location of the photo.
So therefore, no free lunch.
So no free lunch. Exactly. All right. So that's why I say you want to make that caveat. If you know what's happening, you can now attach to the photo a document such as this that says this is where it actually took place. You know, you can put a little this is where the photo took place. This is where it's telling you it is. And then what I've had to do is use then Google Maps to create a walking distance to show people the difference so that they can actually see it. When I was using the free version, I did that enough times to say, you know what? It's $80, Jerry. You can afford it. So I bought them free. I bought it. I love it. It just does the job so well.
What's Bomer's position on this?
Don't buy it if you don't need it.
Okay.
However, and here's the caveat, with the information that we just found out, like I said, 3 days ago, that position may change, and that's why we're now pushing for the wing to buy site licenses. If you want us to use this, then you need to be able to give it to us. If you're going to force us to use it, or you're going to force this on all photos, then it's not fair for individual pilots to have to buy this separately and put on their own computers. So you'll get updates on that. Those of you who continue on to become mission pilots and technicians and meet the qualifications, you're going to become part of a mailing list from Colonel Bomer, and you're going to get more information on this for sure.
Is that
I'm certainly pressing as well.
Is that can be used on the iPhone and iPad, or it has to be separate?
Neither. These are used on computers. It is a Windows-driven program.
All right.
You expect this to be a topic on Saturday?
There is an SUAS
Right.
thing. It's something that can certainly be talked about. I'm going to be there. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
and I have a funny feeling Colonel Bomer's going to go, Jerry?
Tell him to get his credit card out.
Yeah, exactly. And and this is why we encountered this during the GLR exercise, and we found this out because we took a couple of photos with our phones so that we wanted a different angle, and the phone pictures we were told that the phone pictures were not accepted because they were not geocoded. Now, in this case, they were able to take the data, the geo information from the metadata, but from talking to Colonel Cerny on Saturday, it would appear that this is the direction that we are going on. Maybe that all photos are going to have that label on it, so that what we're doing is we're bringing ourselves into what other wings are already doing. We've had an exemption in Michigan. Now we're bringing ourselves into what other wings are doing as well. Okay.
Sir,
So-
just to clarify that one point you made about the phone.
Yes.
So you said that they weren't accepted because they weren't geocoded, meaning it had the overlay stating the GPS and the stamps on it, or it didn't
No.
have the EXIF data with the GPS embedded into the file of the photo.
The latter, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes. Okay. But I do encourage you to download it. Practice with it. It's a cool thing to play with. It really is. And ensure that if you use it for missions, you include this kind of caveat. Any questions on Robogeo and what it does before we move on? Okay, so let's take a look at other programs that we use. Okay, so the other thing we do is create orthomosaic and geo-rectified orthomosaics. An orthomosaic is when you have a series of smaller pictures taken, as I said earlier, and you use software that electronically stitches those images together to produce a larger image. Depending on the desired resolution, this software may take many hours to produce the finished product. That picture you saw that I used in my example took approximately 42 minutes to create with 153 photos.
Hey, somebody's got their mic live with the background.
Yes, they do. I'm trying to find
Captain King there. There we go.
normally, yeah, there we go. Thank you. Normally they show up in at the very top of my list when they're voicing, but I didn't see it. So sorry. Here we go. So those looking for the mission pilot qualifications will be working on that exercise in a later session. Again, tonight is knowing about the various types of software and the applications available. For that, there are a variety of programs that we can use. Once again, you must purchase them on your own dime. Some of them have free versions, some don't. CAP currently has a contract with Drone Deploy to use all of their imaging software called Enterprise. But again, there are two caveats. You must be registered with a CAP email address. Everyone is issued a CAP email address. If you have not received a CAP email address, and I'm addressing the Michigan wing here, okay? I can't say that the other wings do this because I'm not part of those wings. If there's someone in Iowa that can confirm this, please do so. Everyone in Michigan wing receives an email address. Some of us don't use it, others do. If you
Same,
don't
same,
know,
same in Ohio.
Ohio, yes. The problem that we have in the nationally is that not everybody uses the same platform. I know that we use, for example, in the wing, we use Gmail as our platform for miwg.cap.gov, yet GLR uses Microsoft. So you know, other areas are using other platforms. So that's one thing. You can get, yes, link to get access to your Michigan Wing Google account. And that's now been put in the chat by Lieutenant Roof. And thank you very much for that, sir. So first of all, you have to use a registered CAP email address. And the reason for that is you cannot use it for personal use. So you can't use the enterprise if you're flying your own personal drone for fun, because in order to use the enterprise, you have to log in with your CAP ID. And of course, as soon as you use it, National is going to get charged. And so they'll know if it's not part of a mission, they'll automatically know. Okay. So if you use Drone Deploy, you will most likely, like me, end up with a personal account and a CAP account. Drone Deploy allows you to fly automatically by creating the mission pattern, taking the pictures, having the pictures uploaded to a cloud, and then creating an Orthomosaic all within the Drone Deploy application if you're using the enterprise. Okay. I have not used the enterprise options as of yet, other than just to play with them, but I have used it for the automatic flight. And I've used my personal audit, obviously, and I've used my CAP for automatic flight as well.
How much is the license for Drone Deploy?
Yes.
A lot.
I'm sorry. It's just a it's a license. As soon as what it is you will you talked when you get your mission pilot rating. You're then going to let Colonel Bomer know that you need the license. He will then notify Drone Deploy, and then all you have to do is log in, and because your name's automatically going to be on there after you've downloaded it to your pad or your phone.
What's the cost of a personal license?
The personal license for Drone Deploy is, I believe, $185.
A month. Or I'm looking on their website now. It's $299 a month for the individual license, $99 a month for their light license.
Yeah.
And that's if you bill annually. So
you're talking $1,000 for the license.
yeah.
That's why I use the free version, which at least lets me go autopilot. It lets me do 3D and 2D orthomosaic pictures, and then puts them onto the card, and then I work with them there. I don't worry about the cloud or enterprise or anything like that when I'm doing my fun stuff. All right, so the next one is Metashape, Agisoft Metashape, which is a commercial standalone software product that processes photography for mission surveying and mapping, and it measures distances between objects. It's very useful as it can generate 3D renderings, and its standalone cost is $180 for the standard edition. That's the one that CAP uses during training at NISA. I do not use Metashape. Again, the full version. I do use they do have a free version that is limited, and for what I've been able to need it for so far, it's worked well. QGIS is a free and open source cross-platform. So free, like free. It's open source, it's cross-platform, and it's a geographic information system application that supports viewing, editing, and analysis of geospatial data. It functions as geographic information system software, and it allows users to analyze and edit that information in addition to composing and exporting graphical maps. It supports both raster and vector layers, and the data is stored at either a point, line, or polygon features. And with those, you can then overlay that image, for example, in Google Earth. And so, for example, if you look at Google Earth and you see, let's take a look at that, that orthomosaic that I made. So I'm looking at that and going, oh, well, that one building in the corner wasn't there when they took the picture before. If I use QGIS, I can then go into Google Earth, superimpose that picture, and they will then incorporate it into the next Google Earth. They know that they don't have to take the picture. It's already done for them. So of course they're going to do it for free. Okay, there's a more detailed explanation about it on the national site at gocivilairpatrol.com, and I encourage you to check it out. Pix4D is a Swiss company which started in 2011 and develops a suite of software products that use photogrammetry and computer vision algorithms to transform all pictures into thermal, multispectral, RGB. It takes all of those types, fisheye, and converts them into 3D maps and 3D modeling. CAP has purchased a perpetual educational license for Pix4D to allow us to learn how to produce geo-rectified Orthomosaic images from the UAS camera. But in the case of Pix4D, the UAS images are uploaded to the Pix4D file servers where the production of the maps take place. Again, this software is extremely expensive. It's like Drone Deploy. It costs almost $200 or $300 a month. So we do have a free version that we can play with, but again, it's very limited. But again, it does enough for us to learn how to do things. Finally, Microsoft Image Composite Editor is unfortunately no longer available. It was a powerful little program to get started on orthomosaics, and the project was retired a little over a year ago. However, some of us still have the program, okay, and we're willing to share it, and Microsoft doesn't mind, apparently does not mind us sharing it. So it's also available on several sites online, but again, please be careful if you're doing that. I don't want to be responsible for you downloading a virus. So for that reason, when we are doing the orthomosaic exercise, I will actually be including as part of the package a copy of Microsoft Image Composite Editor for you. So if you do not already have it on your computer, you will receive a copy of it. Okay. So everyone should have it, and again, it is a great starter for doing orthomosaics, and they turn out really nice. I got to admit. Okay, and again, we're going to talk about it more about when we get closer to the date of that session, and I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves. So for more information on the application, here are the links. Okay, and I'm going to put all of them, as soon as I get to the sticky note here, I'm going to put all of those links for all of the information in the chat.
in the chat.
So take a screenshot for right now, at least it gives you, but again, I'm gonna give you guys about 5 minutes to click on those and that way you can at least bookmark those sites. Okay. Tonight is about giving you the understanding of what we do with the photos. It's not a session on actually using any of the programs. So take a couple minutes, use the chat or take a screenshot so that you've got these to go to and either download the free versions to play with or at least read up on them. Because at some point in your mission pilot career, you will probably need one, if not all of them. Okay.
Captain Boar, question.
Certainly.
For QGIS, do you know if that particular tool has the geocoding feature built into it?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right, that's good. I've been looking for something free that does it and going through the documentation didn't say it right away. So I'll try that one.
Yeah. You know that you can also right click on any photo to get its metadata, right?
Right, but just to have it automatically stamp the Civil Air Patrol logo and then do all that stuff.
QGIS does not do that. The only program that we found that does that is Robogeo.
Okay, so
Yeah.
to clear up the terminology, geocoding is what Robogeo does, or is that geotagging?
That's geotagging.
Tagging, okay.
Yes.
Got my words mixed up
Yes.
then.
Because it takes the geocode, the EXIF information right from the metadata.
Gotcha, okay. Have you, I sent a message to you in Zoom. Have you used open drone maps before?
I have not.
Okay, take a look at that when you can, because I didn't know if you had seen that one. That one is a free and open source version image processor for drones.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I clicked on the link, of course, as we were chatting, and I'm gonna take a look at it for sure.
Yeah. The real cool thing about it is you can boot it from USB. So if you just happen to have an open laptop and you want to use it just for image processing, you can do that, which I thought was really cool that they were able to package that together.
For sure. No, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to take a look at that. Thank you. And that's one of the nice things about this course and about once we get things moving and getting the programs up and running, we're going to be able to have these best practices type of discussions.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so I think I've given everybody a chance to at least click on the link so that you can bookmark them. So basically, before I give the link to the quiz, are there any questions on what we've just discussed? All right. I have put the link to the quiz in the chat. Whoops. I'm going to just do that for the people at home to see that for a bit. And I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that.